Good morning, Izzy.
Hey, how you doing, Bill?
Good, and you?
How you feeling? Good?
Yeah.
Good, good. It's kind of close out there, isn't it?
Beg your pardon?
The race, it's close.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a while before it gets decided.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, but I went around to a few places yesterday, and it was nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did the same, Bill. And that's all because of the early voting that
Right.
we had. You know, that's what I think.
Did a good job too.
They did. When I was going by one of the polls around 7 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
in the no, but it was close to 8 o'clock. And I walked in, there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest voting districts. And there was hardly anyone there.
Right.
Because he said there was no lines like it used to be. It just went smooth.
Yeah. That people were happy down here. So it's great. Now we see what the final outcome is.
Oh, there you go.
Good morning, guys. Morning.
Hey, Lou.
Morning.
Morning, Louis.
How you doing, Lou?
Good. Long night.
David?
David.
Oh,
How you
hope you all had a good night's sleep.
Right.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Morning, Blue. Morning, everyone.
Right?
Morning, Ray.
Good morning.
How are you, Diane?
Doing okay.
Good.
Mhm.
And you look like you're doing okay too. That's a good thing.
Yes.
1,
Morning, Bob.
3, 4, 5. Bob, we have a quorum. Do we know if anyone else isn't able to come? Is Jenny coming?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have not had any confirmation from anyone this morning of who's-
Okay, so we'll just wait a couple of minutes and see if Jenny comes. And Mr. Pierce?
is correct. Everyone looks well rested.
Yeah.
Okay, since we're not starting yet, I gotta go get my coffee.
Warm mine up too when you go. Madam Chair, Jenny will be joining us shortly. Oh, okay, got it.
Very good. So we'll wait for Mr. DeSimone to get his coffee and then we'll start.
I've got it. I'm good.
You're good? Okay, great.
We can start whenever you want. It's the beauty. It's the
Okay,
beauty
awesome.
of Zoom.
A beautiful thing.
Well, good morning, everyone. This meeting of the State of Rhode Island Board of Elections will come to order. It is Wednesday, November 4th, 10:01 a.m. Madam Secretary, would you read the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chairwoman Maderas,
Here.
Vice Chairman Pierce, Member DeSimone,
Present?
Member Johnson, Member Ramos,
Present.
Member Scholes,
Present.
Member West,
Present.
Executive Director Robert Reposa,
Present.
Legal Counsel Raymond Carchio.
Present.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The only item on today's agenda, the board may hear and consider any election matter that arises from the general election that requires an immediate ruling or determination pursuant to Title 17 of the Rhode Island General Laws. Executive Director Reposa, would you like to report?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. This morning, I am pleased to report that the state had an average turnout based on the last 3 presidential elections. As of this meeting, the unofficial results are 60.6% of all eligible voters cast a ballot in yesterday's election. 196,000 or 823 voters went to one of our polling places, which closed at 8 p.m. last night, which represents 24.46% of yesterday's turnout. 140,250 voters cast an emergency ballot at their city or town hall in the last 20 days preceding yesterday's elections, or 17.43% of the turnout. This turnout does not include emergency voting ballots cast in the city of Cranston. And finally, 150,250 voters have cast a mail ballot, or 18.71% of yesterday's unofficial results. As you authorized, the staff released unofficial mail ballot results early this morning. The results released were based on all the mail ballots that had been tabulated as of 12 a.m. We continue to tabulate mail ballots this morning, and we will continue to do so into the near future. We are anticipating the arrival of our precinct drop boxes throughout the day, as we have 3 Board of Election vans traveling to the 39 boards of canvassers to retrieve the drop boxes and return them to our headquarters. We will then commence certifying and tabulating all the eligible mail ballots that are deposited into our drop boxes yesterday. We will also continue tabulating remake ballots that have been torn by our signature verifying machine or our mail ballot, our tabulating equipment, qualified provisional ballots, cured deficient ballots, manual cast ballots in the coming days. Last night, the 39 boards of canvassers were instructed to transmit the results from their emergency voting equipment at 10 p.m. to the Board of Elections. 38 of the 39 communities have successfully transmitted their results, and they are reflected in the Board of Elections' unofficial election results, which are displayed on the Board of Elections website. The city of Cranston is the only community that has not transmitted their results due to an equipment problem. Cranston had a USB drive in one of their DS200s that captured all the votes until the drive became full. At that point, the Board of Elections went to Cranston and switched out the USB with a new USB so that the voting could continue. While the USB captured all the votes cast up to the point it became full, that upon totaling the voting equipment, the DS200 did not have the ability to tabulate all the results that were on the USB drive. Last night, before the staff secured 2,000 Plainfield Pike for the evening, the city of Cranston was asked to bring all of their emergency ballots that had been cast in the 20 days preceding yesterday's election to the Board of Elections headquarters, where they were secured for the night. It is important to note that the Board of Elections has security cameras inside and outside the building, and a security guard 24 hours a day on site. This morning, I asked the board for your approval to authorize the staff to refeed all the Cranston emergency ballots cast between Wednesday, October 14th and Monday, November 2nd into our high-speed mail ballot tabulating machines. Upon completion, we will release the results onto our website. Upon your approval, the refeeding of the ballots will begin between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. today. This morning, I spoke to Nick Lima, the Cranston registrar, and asked him to notify all the candidates that were on the Cranston ballots in advance of your authority, so that they could also be in attendance on this Zoom meeting if they so chose, and that they would be in attendance when we are refeeding those ballots at the BOE headquarters located at 2000 Plainfield Pike in Cranston. That concludes the morning report. And anybody have any questions for me? Or I would ask that you consider this request so that we can get these ballots refed and tabulated and get the results up onto our website.
Thank you, Mr. Reposa. Do we have any questions of any of our board members of the?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. DeSimone.
Bob, do we know how many ballots there are for the city of emergency?
It's in the neighborhood of somewhere around 9,000 ballots, I have been told.
Okay, and the feed's gonna be done between 12 and 1?
Well, I just had a piece of paper slid under my nose here that says that the 12 to 1 really should be between 12 to 4. And the reason being is that due to the volume of mail ballots, our mail ballot tabulating equipment is still processing some of the mail ballots that were entered into it yesterday.
Okay, so we're not, but certainly by 4, it'll be done.
Oh, I hope, so. Yes.
Okay, I think those are the only 2 questions I had.
You said approximately 9,000, Bob?
That was the number that was provided to me by the staff this morning.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, go
Hey,
ahead.
Bob, that's just one machine, isn't it?
What was that, Mr. Schultz?
I said, was that just one machine in question?
It was one machine. It actually maxed out where it couldn't take any more ballots onto the stick.
So the 9,000 ballots are in the.
They're actually on 3 USB drives.
But the mail ballot itself, the paper ballot, where would they be?
They're here. We have them. We asked Cranston to bring them to us last night before we left for the night.
So, but during the course of this period, October 14th to November 2nd, the machine was able to accommodate and hold in the bin 9,000 emergency paper ballots.
They had more than one machine to store these ballots.
So both machines coming into Cranston?
The machines are not, the ballots are here. The ballots were removed by the Board of Canvassers, secured in our security cases, and were transported here last night.
Okay.
We have the ballots.
Okay, both machines, plus the USB drive.
We have all the emergency ballots cast in Cranston.
When you open the machine, is there a paper tape that prints out the results?
That's correct, and that's where the problem is in trying to get the results printed on the tape, because there's so much data on those USB drives.
And you have,
And you have, I mean, and this, I want to say that this is our first experience with this many mail ballots or emergency ballots at these boards of canvassers. That going forward to 2022, the staff will look to either send out more machines.
I'm on a Zoom meeting to the, no, I'm not talking to Zoom.
We will send out more machines either to the local communities, or we'll explore if there are USB drives that are capable of holding more data.
all right, yeah. But you know, you bet you could, on these circumstances, never knew, unexpected consequences of a failure of a USB drive.
That is
Good.
correct. But
Also-
this will correct the issue at hand, and we will be able to get results up as soon as all those ballots are tabulated.
Through the chair,
Yes, Mr. DeSimone.
Just for purposes of going forward, if we believe that the emergency or early voting is here to stay, would it make sense maybe to discuss at some point some regulation or rule that would maybe have those ballots transmitted to us the day before instead of the day of the election? Because they're closed at 4:30 that day, correct, Bob?
That is correct. And the staff and I discussed that possibility at length, and the vendor that supports our election system and software strongly requested that not become a consideration, especially for 2020, because this is the first time, and we were concerned of transmitting results prior to the actual day of the election.
Yeah, no, I was actually suggesting not transmitting results, but physically bringing the machine and the ballots to your office instead of keeping them in the town halls. Because I know some of the local towns, and this has got nothing to do with this particular election, but in the past have had issues with electronic transmission in the past, not so much failure of a drive like this, but just communication issues. So that might be one thing we could look at to maybe just physically, since it's only one machine, physically bring it up to the board at 4:30 on Monday. That way there should be no issues on Tuesday because we'd be doing the actual processing of that machine.
That is
instead of the local place.
That's a great point, and that is definitely something we can look into before we have our next statewide election.
It's a good point, yes.
That is
Mr. West, did you have something? You look like you wanted to say something. No? Bill West?
Madam Chair, I just want to make one point that,
Sure.
or that when those ballots came in from Cranston, they did have a seal on them. And the seal will be broken when you start to recount.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions of our executive director at this point? Does the board wish to take an action?
I mean, I will move to authorize the staff and Mr. Reposa to begin that count somewhere between 12 and 4 as requested by the director.
We have a second to Mr. DeSimone's motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Ramos. Any discussion of the board?
I would just say one thing on that motion, that the count continue until all the ballots are fed into the machine and tabulated.
Absolutely. That's a great suggestion, Dave.
Mhm.
I'd amend the motion to that effect.
Chairman Harris, is it possible for us at the city of Cranston to ask a question?
I don't know who's speaking.
This is Randy Giacomoni. I'm the chairman of the Cranston Board of Canvassers.
Okay, we will allow you to speak before we take an action.
Okay. Can I go ahead? I just have a question.
Sure.
I was just wondering if I don't know what the nature of the issue was with the USB drive, but was the vendor able to provide any sort of assistance to try to extract the data from that USB drive before we go down the road of trying to do a recount or counting those ballots again?
Mr. Reposa, do you have a response?
They spent a good hour waiting for this equipment to try to tabulate your results. And that's when the decision was made that it would be more beneficial and expedient if we put these ballots back through the 850 mail ballot tabulating equipment that's in this building.
I mean, I for one wouldn't be comfortable with relying on the electronic information at this point anyway. I think Bob, you're right on target with what we should do.
Thank you.
I think we're going to take a vote, but did Nick Lima wanted to say something? I see his hand is up. Or is that the
No,
chairman?
Madam Chair, I just had raised it for my board chair.
Very good, thank you. Okay, any further discussion of the board? If not, we will take a vote. Vice Chairman Pierce is not here. Mr. West,
Yes.
Dr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson, who's now present,
Aye.
and Mr. DeSimone.
Aye.
I'm in favor of it as well. The motion carries unanimously. And let the record show that Jenny Johnson was here for the discussion. She arrived at 10:07. Unanimous vote of the board. Any other business, Bob, at this point?
That concludes what I have at this point.
Okay, well, I know you have a lot more work to do. So at this point, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. West,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Johnson. Voting on the motion, Mr. West,
Yes.
Dr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Scholes,
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. DeSimone.
Aye.
I'm in favor as well. We are adjourned at 10:18 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Reposa.
You're very welcome. Have a
we-
great day, everyone.
Are we still
Yeah.
meeting tomorrow morning?
We are scheduled for a 10 a.m. meeting tomorrow as well.
So we
Thank
will
you.
see you then.
We'll see you at 10 tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Aye. Take care.